You are joined with me here on Ebenyiba TV. My name is Christian Adiabo, or Civist. That's my name. Today we are in Keta Fort Princeton. It is a historical site where slave trade took place. So before I continue, I would like to say a big shout out to New Zealand's Ever English Dictionary. Yes, they are the companies responsible for letting people who want to study English and ever. Yes, I mean, they produce dictionary, that is Ever English Dictionary or English Ever Dictionary, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Yes, today we are here right in Keta. It is an historical site, Fort Princeton. The reason why the fort was established, the year that it was established, and then what actually transpired. That's why we are here. And what do you also know about Fort Princeton? During the time of slave trade here in West Africa or Keta, what do you know? So you have to follow us as we dig in and then bring to you the reasons or the history behind the establishment of the whole fort. I mean Fort Princeton. So here we go. Viewers, here we come and you are still joined with us on Ebenyiba TV. I told you we are right here in Keta Fort Princeton, where you get to know historical facts, the truths about the fort here in Keta. What do you also know about the fort? You want to know more? You get to know. So right here with me, I have one honorable member who is more knowledgeable. He has more insights as far as the Fort Princeton is concerned. So you will get to know more about the fort right here in Keta. Honorable, good morning. You're welcome to Ebenyiba TV.
Good morning. Welcome to Fort Princeton, the only fort in the eastern side of Ghana, Volta region. So this was put up by the Danes. You know, the Danes have 5 in Ghana. They have the Christiansborg Castle as the headquarters. They have Augustaborg in Teshi. It's in Rheinau. They have a Fredensborg in Adan.
So in Adan, what about Cape Coast also?
No, I'm trying to relate
the
whole thing to what we have in Volta region.
Oh, okay.
So actually they started the construction of this fort from 1700. They completed 1784.
Okay.
They were buying slaves from Togo, Benin, Nigeria, and other parts of Gold Coast, now Ghana. So the slaves from Togo, Benin, Nigeria, and other parts of Ghana were transported by foot into the fort over here. They were kept for 1 or 2 months and finally transported across the Atlantic. And then most of them were sold in a Danish Norwegian island, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. Formerly it was called West Indies, but now US Virgin Islands. So each of the dungeons in the fort take about 100 to 200 slaves. But initially no window. All this window was created when the fort was sold to the British in 1850. So inside the dungeon, the slaves defecate, urinate, sleep there. They were dying to insanity condition. Even the water, they will pour it under the door. They have to use their tongue to lick it. Food were thrown to them through the window. They have to struggle for it. And finally, they use hot iron, which bear the name of the company, to mark very part of their body for easy identification. And the trade by then was so persuasive that even the smallest community, they have to go on a warpath in order to secure slaves, to get arms, to defend themselves when attacked. And the unfortunate one were then marched to establish slave market. We have the Atoko slave market. The Atoko slave market, just like how Manso, Salaga, and Sandema slave market is. So the slaves were put on display like any marketable commodity, and they were sold to the highest bidders. They also used shea butter or palm oil to rub the body of the slave, just to make them very attractive to the buyers. So Samori and Babatus in the north, they were raiding, kidnapping, and they channeled their slaves through Tetekrachi, that's the northern side of Volta, all the way down here. So when the slaves arrived into this fort, they were sorted away, branded, and then they opened their mouth to estimate their age by the state of their teeth. So they count the teeth of the slaves. When it's up to 32, they know that fully grown adult. So children and younger slaves, they were counted as quarter, half to 10 pieces of cargo, depending upon the estimated commercial value. So they can make 3 children the price of 1 adult slave. So where we are now, this is the female side of the fort.
Okay.
Where we are now, this is the female side of it. And the other end, where the sea have taken part, that's the male portion. So in those days too, there was no building surrounding the fort. All these buildings came after the abolished slave trade. The abolished slave trade in 1807, but illegal trafficking goes on up to 1834. Then Wilberforce, Granville Sharp, Thomas Clarkson, they are the British abolitionists. They petitioned British Parliament, so Emancipation Act was passed. That's where the British sent their slaves to Liberia.
So, what was the reason for establishing this fort, if I may ask?
You know, they put up the fort just for trading, to fortify their trade. And then 1700, you know, everything have changed. And they moved from gold and ivory trade to slave trade. So our great-grandfathers were kept over here for 1 or 2 months before being transported across the Atlantic. And most of our great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers were taken to America.
There has been this rumor that the slaves, some of them are still remaining in the walls. I don't know how true is that. Since you are here, you should be able to tell us if that is true or not.
In those days, our great-grandfathers, they have powers that when they lean on the wall, they will just say 1 or 2 words to vanish. So that's why the Danish put mercury inside the walls of the fort, in between the walls of the fort. And those that attempt to become stuck. That's why when the sea was destroying the fort, you can see human remains. Therefore, so they also made attempt to vanish or to get out of the fort, but they got stuck, unfortunately.
So what is so unique or very special about this fort? I mean, Fort Princeton, that even you want people in the diaspora or any part of the world to visit. What is so special about this fort?
You know, our coast has been referred as a slave coast. So from Accra to Azin, Gold Coast, and then Ivory Coast. So this is the slave coast. So the African Americans, this is their home. Mostly when they come, they look at our culture and that of where they are, what they are practicing over there. It's similar. So most of the time, they always come to this fort, and we find their roots for them. We find their families for them. And that's what we have been doing now. That's why they named the beach Emancipation Beach. That's why we are doing the ceremony for them. And so the chiefs along the Anglos do receive them by giving them land to establish themselves.
Yes, with these insights, were you taught about the history, or it is something that you have read from book? How do you come across the whole history?
You know, it's an oral tradition. Some of them are from our chiefs. Some of them we make research. So mostly some of them are from elders and the chief of the community. Their great grandfathers, you know, pass it through them. So we also we learn it from them about what happens here. You know, we have the mulattoes in Tata over here. They are the descendant of the former governors of the fort. We have a lot of mulattoes in Kita. So we also learn some of the history from them. Their books, They have shown us the books their great-grandfathers left behind, and we saw the shackles in some of the family houses, the chains, the guns, and all that. All those items, they have shown us those things. So we learn about all those things. That's what I'm trying to tell you, the history about the people of Petra, the fort history, and other things, how we migrated, and other things like that.
Okay, in terms of the length, the size of the whole fort as compared to other forts here in Ghana, so how will you be able to explain or say something about that in that aspect? Because I believe you have knowledge about other forts, or you have been there, you have read about them. So with this Fort Princeton and other fort, maybe Elmina, whatever fort here in Ghana, which one is the biggest?
Elmina Cape Coast and that Christian Temple. Those are the castle. A castle is bigger than a fort. So you can compare a fort to a castle. A castle is bigger than a fort. So this one is a fort. So the material they use to put up this wall is different from the one they used to put up Elmina Cape Coast and then Christian Castle or Shaford or Gainsford. So this one is unique among them. They use different materials to put up this fort. As I was telling you, they used to make ways also to prevent our great grandfathers from vanishing from them. And it's also another thing.
Okay, with even the castle, what is the relationship between the fort and then the castle in respect of the slave masters or the colonial masters? Is there any relationship in these two? The castle and then the fort?
Well, the castle is bigger than the fort. So the fort becomes the holding point where they hold the slaves before being transported. And then the castle also used as a slave post. Likewise, the fort was also the same business.
Okay, viewers, thank you very much. Right on Ebenyigba TV will come your way with more stories, more informing issues, historical facts, anything that is going around the country, anything that you need to know. Maybe perhaps you are trying to know. So bring them to you. So Honorable, thank you very much for your time on Ebenyigba TV. What do you have for the viewers?
Keep on subscribing to Ebenyigba TV.
Okay, viewers, thank you very much. Till then, we'll come your way again.
So this was how the fort was before the sea destroyed part of it. So the watchtower, while the supporting unit overlooked the entire building. Slave trade was a trade by barter. They were using brandy, whiskey, milk in exchange for slaves. And later on they started using cowrie shells. So 500 of these cowrie would buy female slaves and 300 for the male slave. 500 for the female, 300 for the male.
Okay.
The main reason is that the female gives birth over here. They sell to other plantations. That's why the female were more expensive than the male slave. And our money was made after this. This is what we call cedi.
Okay.
And we call it Bochi in our language.
Okay, that is in everything.
So after this, our great grandmother used the money called Philip. Philip was the money they used after the cowrie. So that's why we normally say maybe Philip in relation to Ogana. So I don't have that point.
Okay.
So we have the point to, and these are the smoking pipes they used to smoke the tobacco. The smoking pipes they used to smoke the tobacco, and then some of the latest using by the government is in the carbon wallet. So the two was taken from our chiefs because they said no, you will not allow them to put on the top. So the town was destroyed. by the dams. That made our people move from here to where they are now.
Okay.
That's where they separated that whole people down. For their migration from here down. So these are the guns used by the slave master. The governor, the gun used to steal. The gun used to fight our property inside the camp. So these are some of the artistic impressions, the pictures we are seeing. How they were captured, brought here, and then transported. So what here, this is how the fort looks like. Before the city were part of it. This is how they transported our great-grandfathers from the interior down here. They burnt marks at the various part of their body for easier identification. They were taken down to be arranged this way. This is how they arranged the slaves in the lower deck of the ship. They beat them, they use horse and dog to chase and then kidnap slaves. The weak and sick ones, they were tossed overboard. And they put this around their neck to prevent them from escaping. Put on the marks so that people cannot easily identify them. So inside the rooms or the dungeons, the slaves, they mix them so that they will not understand. The way to see how physically fit and strong they are before they buy. And after buying too, they want that slave to maintain that required strength. When they realize that he loses, they tie block at their back, throw them to the sea. Because they are in need of strong slaves who can work in a sugarcane or cotton plantation. So this is what they used to grind the corn. They don't have corn machine. So they rely on this for their corn flour. Even they will be in shackles before doing the grinding over here. Why they do the cooking? I mean, what we are seeing over there, that's the cooking pan they used to cook for them. The oven, why they set the fire. And then they store in where they store the food. So over here, this is where the female slave bath. So when they are taking their bath, governor stand at the top, point at the one here at the mine, sleep with them. That's why you have a lot of mulattoes in Kita. So the water they bath remains here in case they are thirsty. They did the same water they were bathing with.
They drink the same water
they were bathing with.
Wow.
If the female slaves conceive, they leave them around. After delivery, the mother will be taken away and the child remain with them. They were groomed, they were interpreting the language for them. This one was where they kept the hardened slaves. The strong ones were kept over here. So the chains we are seeing over here were used to secure the slave by two. They would chain one right leg to another left leg. And they also used their fingers to scratch both the wall and the floor. They wanted to dig into the building and they stayed with them. So they used their fingers to scratch both the wall and the floor. They wanted to dig into the building and they stayed with them. The chains that we are seeing over here was used to chain their neck, their leg in those days. And that's the keys they used to open some of the shackles. See the Bible going? Okay. That's what they used to open. And this one they used to carry the dead ones. The dead one is what they used to carry. This, the heart used by the slave masters. So this one, where they kept the strong slaves, this one of the dark. They used oyster shells and then the yellow bricks. These yellow bricks, they brought it from Denmark. They use as a ballast. Like when they take slaves and they are coming, they bring more stones that they can use to fortify the walls of the fort. These are the materials. This is one of the rooms where they kept the hardened slaves. The strong slaves were kept over here. And that's the only ventilation at the top. So they have iron gate at the entrance. The only time for them to see sunlight is when they should make